Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to Fandom Access.
Yay.
Jamie and I are here. We're just waiting on Karen. And good evening, Ark. I'm glad you're caught up on everything,
Yes, good thing. And
except except for
oops,
Dark
sorry.
Matter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because Art came on, it reminded me. Although I think she already knows they're starting up the press for it, but I know Arc season 2 is going to be coming pretty soon, and I'm already trying to set up some stuff. So hopefully that will be soon too. I know everybody's waiting for that. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for Karen, we were just discussing Three Body Problem has been renewed for 2 seasons, not one but two. So we know we'll at least get there. There was 3 books, you said, right? Isn't that
There's
okay?
3 books.
So it should get an ending then. So that's something good. Yeah, Arc's ready. I figured you were Arc. But for anybody who did know, I have not watched. Well, I've watched what we're going to talk about, but that's about it because I've had such a bad infected tooth. I have been kind of out of commission this week and not doing a whole lot of anything. So, but I'm out of pain, so I'm all good. Yeah, Michael said he's waiting for the arc too. Yeah, I know. It's a common. I was going to say, do we have anything else? What I'm trying to think if is anything else even starting up soon that we
Yeah.
talk about that other than that?
Yes, there is. But Arc starts in 43 days.
43 days. All right. Awesome. Um,
Um,
the shows that I know that are premiering are sci-fi. Well, we do have Orphan Black Echo is next
I was
month.
say Orphan Black. I was just gonna say Orphan Black starts up.
Yes,
in
that is
22
June,
days.
yeah, I was gonna say it's June 23rd, I believe. I
House of the Dragon starts up in 12 days.
What does the Dragon House
House
of
of
the
the
House of the
House of
Dragon?
the Dragon.
Well, I probably will not watch that considering I never watched further than the first one.
Yeah,
But
Karen though.
no, I know you do. I just could not get into that. I tried. I mean, I love Matt Smith, but I couldn't get into it at all. It was too dark for me. But I was going to say Orphan Black. I'm really excited to talk about that because I really did enjoy that. Um, like I said, I had watched it way before when it was on elsewhere. So I mean, it's not as good as the original, but I really enjoyed it still. It's a good sequel. And
I
it's
like I like the tagline. It's a unique copy of the original.
Is that what it says? I haven't looked. I need to watch some of the promos. I haven't seen them because I haven't needed to because I had already watched it. I haven't. I need to go do that. But well, Karen should be here in a minute. What else? Should we maybe we I was gonna say maybe we should just jump into Doctor Who because she's not here yet. She said she was running up the stairs. She's taking longer to run up the stairs, I guess.
Well, she was running up the stairs right at 10 o'clock. So
No,
I
I
don't
know.
I don't know how many stairs she has.
She has a lot, I guess.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's start.
Yeah,
Um,
we don't want to sit around and not do anything. All right, well, why don't you go first? What did you think about it? Because I think I already
um,
met you guys what I thought before, so
I
you go
I
first.
didn't hate the episode as much as you guys. I thought it was a unique way to do it. Um, yes, the episode's called Dot and Bubble. Um, it's funny. I saw the title, and the first thing that came to mind was this old cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid called Dot and the Kangaroo.
All
So,
right.
but I was expecting the character's name to be Dot in the episode, put a bubble around her, but the Dot what created the bubble. But anyway,
There we
as a lot
go.
of people know, it's very. A lot of people compared it to Black Mirror, which I agree with. Hi, Karen.
Hello. We started probably about 30 seconds ago.
Sure. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Sorry to be a minute late. I just got home.
That's okay.
That's okay. And I know we don't have specific episode images, but I at least put up our Doctor Who banner there. Yeah, I don't know that I disliked it. I I wish that we had more of the Doctor and Ruby. Again, I understand why we didn't, and I think it worked for the episode. I'm just kind of disappointed there hasn't been a lot of the Doctor because we don't have very many episodes. Like we've already had 5 of the 8 episodes, and it doesn't. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm still waiting for the season to get into gear, and like I haven't been. I don't want to say I haven't been wowed. I've liked them, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm still waiting for something. But I enjoyed it, and I think that the actress who played oh, you know me with names. What the hell's her name?
Lindy.
Lindy. I'm like, it's in my review, was the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Go read my review on Sci-Fi Vision.
That actress, her name is Callie Cook.
Yeah. I think she did a really good job, especially because Doctor Who is such like, you know, huge show, and basically her mostly the whole time, and mostly just her face. I think she did a really good job with, you know, with carrying it, with keeping you interested. And I think the way they did it, making you, you know, think she's just kind of like this ditzy girl, and the way they sort of, that is not Doctor Who. What did you do, Karen?
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened there.
It's okay. I'm like, that is not Doctor Who.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I like the way that like the surprises and the way they had it, but I don't know. I would have liked something more, I guess, out of the episode. I would have liked it to end maybe a little better. Like I get it was supposed to be like Dark Mirror, and Dark Mirror doesn't have good endings. Oh, not that I've watched tons of it, but I don't know. Like I would have at least liked there. I feel like a lot of times in Doctor Who, when it's something like that, I was like expecting like there to be, I don't know, one person there that disagreed, or even just to have a conversation between. And I know the one guy was whatever his name was, Johnny September. What was his name? September. Anyway.
Yeah, I got a kick out of his character because I like the
too.
fact that he turns off the technology to sit down and read.
Yeah, I know. That was something. He's the one that did. But there he goes.
There he is.
The episode was very
but
I don't want to say preachy, but
oh, I mean, it's like a lot of the you know, Black Mirror stuff. But I was just gonna say, like, I wish that Ricky September, I called him Johnny September.
Yeah, Ricky.
I wish that it was like either he was in the end of it maybe, or that even like Ruby and the Doctor maybe had a discussion after, because obviously the Doctor wants to save everybody, and he's always been like, you know, he's always will go above and beyond to save somebody even if they're bad. And these people, I mean, they're not evil. I mean, they're racist. They're not good people. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say they're good people, but I mean, they're not like murderers or anything. And I don't know. I would have liked some kind of discussion about what happened, maybe, is what I feel like. I don't know. I just feel like it was missing something, and it was kind of like an abrupt ending. And yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I get it. I get what they were doing, and I know it was supposed to be like Dark Mirror. And I also Black Mirror. Why do I keep calling it Dark Mirror? I guess because of dark matter. I also do like, in a way, that Russell Davies is doing like different things, I guess, and maybe that they're not what we're expecting. But I don't know. I just feel like I want like a good, what I'm used to, Doctor, like just a really good Doctor Who episode, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like I'm just still waiting for that. I don't know. Just like a classic. Yeah, I don't know. Although I did really like last week. I just wish, again, there was more Doctor in it.
This the one thing that this episode didn't do was we didn't get any explanation for any of it whatsoever. Like no idea where the monsters came from, why the homeworld was attacked, how those monsters were on the homeworld in the same way. Like it just
or
was
where
kind of there.
It really was, when it was.
Yeah. It was just kind of there, and that was it. One thing I did like was seeing a familiar character trait of the Doctor was when he was being condescending to Lindsay, and she even called him out on it. He's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry." You know, like that was very Doctor like. I appreciated that. What was it? And we see Susan Twist again, and she was mommy.
Yeah.
And recognized her again. Not that it mattered that she recognized her last week, because that didn't count anymore. That conversation about the Susan Twist characters has got to be coming, being that
at some
she
point
recognized her again. One thing I don't like, though, I mean, so I read that this was actually the very first episode that Shooty filmed.
Yeah.
So they can clearly, I mean, we all know that shooting doesn't go in order. I wish they had thought of a better way to put the episodes together. Having a Dr. Light episode 2 weeks in a row, while I understand because he was finishing up Sex Ed, and doing Doctor Who at the same time, I feel like they could have structured the episodes better. Like maybe we could have gotten this one later in the season, or 73 yards later in the season. Like I don't understand why they put them back to back like that.
Yeah. And there isn't enough episodes. That's what makes it, I think, makes it worse in a way. And I was just going to say, Ark did not like the ending either. Was a little upset over that. And yeah, I'm putting these one at a time. She also
Yeah, I
said
was pissed when she
that Ricky September would have made a good companion. I agree. I really liked him. He was funny, and like you said, I liked that he was kind of like completely opposite them, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess he was there because he was a rich white guy, but still, it was, yeah. I think that he would have made a good companion. I agree. I think that I do like the way that they led up to her killing him or getting him killed. She didn't actually getting him killed, because it was just kind of like all of a sudden and really unexpected when she turned on him. So I did like that. Just overall, I don't know, like I get the message, and these are these horrible racist rich kids, but I don't know. I just feel like there's like I would have liked something else. What did you think, Karen? We haven't really heard from you.
I mean, I really didn't like this episode. I mean, I also struggle with, not just 2 Dr. Light episodes in a row, but even the episodes that the Doctor has been in, he's like, I haven't fallen in love with my Doctor yet, right? Like, I complained early in the season that we had early episodes where the Doctor's like, I don't know what to do. I can't defeat this person. Are we watching the Ruby Sunday show and the Doctor is her sidekick? Because that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
This season.
You're not wrong.
And I like Ruby, and I like Millie Gibson, I think is great. So, I mean, I'm not criticizing her, but like the companion is like foremost in every episode so far. Look, I like my companions also. I like a good companion episode. I think, these episodes have been Dr. Light partly because Shudigawa was not available because he was shooting Sex Education. And setting aside how good he is or whatever, like, should you cast a guy as the Doctor who's not available? Or should you hold shooting until your Doctor is available and just make the show come on a little bit later?
Well, I guess they, when they first approached him about it, was before the writer's strike, and then the writer's strike kind of jammed everybody up, because he should have been done shooting Sex Ed before.
I just kind of wish like they could have added enough in the budget to like extend the shooting.
But no, I agree with, I do agree with what Karen just said, though. Like, delay the premiere of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I know that like BBC and AMC, they got schedules, they got budgets. I know it's all very complex and difficult, but it like is that your guy, right? Like, I mean, I guess okay, so the strike, that a contract, whatever. I hear you, AJ, but like this is not, maybe then they have to write around it, and I guess they're doing their best. But for me as an audience person, it's maybe just not like
it's definitely annoying.
I'm not. Like I just like,
yeah, like I understand that it happened because of the strike and everything, but like I said, why they could have added a week to the schedule or something. I mean, I guess you're right, they only have so much money, but I mean, with all the money that Disney has, you would just think that they could have held production maybe just a couple weeks. And I mean, we all want, I mean, up to us, but it just would have been nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, having another companion forward episode in a row was not ideal for me. I also, not only was it like mostly Millie, but Millie and Shooty both appear mostly in headshot for the whole first 2/3 of the episode. I guess they were able to shoot that in the studio and like not even have to really, they didn't have to really like do that much in the beginning. I appreciate how they, I get that this episode was a lot of commentary about the character's isolation from the real world, and that they live in a bubble, literally in a bubble of social media. They were
So
rich and they
basically,
worked 2 hours a day. I mean, there's a little. I mean, I don't know about they're privileged. Like I think they were actually called rich in the episode. I hesitate to
yeah, they were rich young adults. I think she said something about how old they were even.
I hate a billionaire as much as anyone, and I hate the idle rich as much as anyone, but it was a little weird that, but whatever, these privileged kids have been sent, they work 2 hours a day, they're in social media all the time. I get it was a commentary on that. I did think, what is this a picture of? The budget. I cannot believe that Disney Plus on their press site did not put any photographs of the slug creatures, which I guess they didn't want to spoil, right? I thought they looked so good, and the what they made me think of was the Zygons, because the Zygons look a little bit like that, but they're a dude in a rubber suit.
Yeah.
And they have their charms, and I have not always I like those crappy costumes sometimes, but Disney sold me on this. I thought the Slugoid, they didn't get a name, I don't think.
Somebody has a dog that isn't me.
That's AJ's dog.
Yeah.
The slug things looked fantastic.
Yeah, they did.
They were great. I thought the color palette was a little off-putting at first, where everything is all in pastels, but it began to work for me after about 5 minutes. And Lindy was working for me until she wasn't, but that's the point, right? Like, Lindy is when she what's his name? Ricky September?
Yeah, Ricky
September. When he is helping her so much to try to survive, and he's like, no, you go, I'll stay here, blah, blah. And then she totally throws him under the bus to save herself. And I was like, whoa, did that really just happen? And
that was a shock, I think, at that point.
Is this a moment where you got to do what you got to do to save yourself? Or is this just like a selfish person throwing this helpful guy under the bus? I don't know. There was maybe part of what bothered me was there were just too many themes, because there's the whole social media isolation thing going on, and then there's a little bit of random criticism of wealthy young people thrown in there, and then there's the evil AI, right? Because the Slugoids, I'm just calling them Slugoids. The
Slugoids, I like that. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. It was also an AI thing in there.
They were created by an AI that was like, you humans suck, you got to go, which is pretty much what every AI in every movie ever does, right? Yeah. And then they just dropped this bomb on us at the end, how it's not a bomb. It's actually kind of obvious. Is it obvious? It's building that they're racist. This is a great shot, because this is, you see Shooty a little bit in the background, you see Lindy's face, and there are these scenes where she reacts so differently to Ruby than she does to him when she sees Shooty on the screen, and
she doesn't even want to talk to him.
And there's a time where she doesn't recognize him, and she says oh, I thought you just looked the same as that guy, and it's holy crap, did she just say you all look the same?
Yeah, she did.
There was a lot of overlapping social themes going on in this.
There was. I was just going to say, and I mentioned this to you guys, but there's a show, I didn't even realize this because I want to go back and watch it for the other episodes. Somebody had mentioned it on the Facebook group I was on. There's a show, The Doctor Unleashed, that's on every week. That's a behind the scenes show that if you go to BBC iPlayer, use a VPN, go watch it. You can watch it, and it's a half an hour. It was pretty long, of a behind the scenes of each episode. And for this one, they talked about they talked about how they filmed it, number one, which I thought there were some interesting things in there. The fact that they did actually have a puppet slug thing, but yet they replaced it with digital. But I would think that was a lot of I feel like I wonder why they spent so much money making a puppet for people to interact if they were going to replace it with digital anyway. But that's neither here nor there. But they talked about how they created everything. But there was a lot of about Russell T Davies talking about, you know, kind of the themes about it, and about the fact that one of the things he wanted to see if people noticed is how it's all white people, and like you don't necessarily think about that, but you're so used to like a diverse cast, and so that was kind of also building up to that moment when you realize that she's racist and everything. But it just had a lot of more of the explaining things, and it showed how they did film it in studio, and how they used like a fake bubble, I guess you could say, attached to her for part of it as reference. It was just, I think, a really good behind the scenes special, but I didn't know it, and they have it for each one. So. But yeah, that's on iPlayer. As long as you create an account and get a VPN, you can. Although it might be on YouTube too. I don't know. I haven't looked. I watched it.
Well, I'll have to check it out. I mean, this was an episode where, in particular, I thought the budget has been, it's been obvious with the way the show looks, but I thought in particular they looked very, very good.
Yeah, they're cool looking, and I like the idea too that like they're right there. Like they're so you talked about them being isolated. They're so isolated from everybody. They don't even see what's going on like 2 feet from them, because they won't even take the damn social media off their face.
She couldn't walk without the arrows.
Yeah, that was kind of funny when she's like didn't remember how to walk. Although I do have to say they sort of dropped that, and she learned how to walk really quick again. But that being said, I think if they kept it up through the whole episode, you would have been really, really annoyed. So I get that they dropped it after, but
this is where she walks into the pole. This is
that was funny, right? When she smashed her face in the pole.
After she met Ricky, all of a sudden she's running.
Yeah, that's what I said. But if they kept it would have been hard. Yeah. But yes, and I definitely think there's one thing, to back to what you were saying before, Karen. There's things to be said about saving yourself, but like she didn't just save herself. She vindictively was like, you should have killed him already. Like she didn't just give herself extra time. She told the thing to kill him, which was really, really harsh. Like I feel like there would have been other ways to maybe give yourself a few seconds.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
You're right. She's like, oh wait, his real name is Connolly, or whatever she says his real name is something that starts with like a C, and C comes before Pete, Pepper. Her name is like Pepper Leaf, Pepper Pot, something like that. And Pepper.
They all have weird names too.
And she calls it out to like set that thing on him to like, it's like in The Walking Dead when, was it Shane shot a guy in the leg, so the zombies would get that guy and he could then
essentially the same thing.
Could then run away, right? It's basically like,
but I feel like in Walking Dead you expect it. I definitely did not expect it. I mean, a lot of times I'm not shocked with things, but I was kind of like really taken aback by that. Like, what the hell just happened? Like you said, she seemed like she was, she was stupid and annoying, but you didn't think she was that kind of person.
Well, you didn't think she was mean,
right?
Or, although I get it. Like if it was you or me, would I leave you behind? I don't know, right?
Better not. No, isn't they always say like you only have to run faster than the slowest person?
That's right. I have to be faster than the bear. I just be faster than you.
Yeah.
I would take a well-defined villain who you may not agree with his motives, but at least you understand their goal and what they're after, as opposed to a snotty 1%er.
Yeah.
I mean, did our friends in the chat, did people love it? Did people have issues with it? How are people feeling about I know we, Ark's been chatting, and if people have been chatting about how we feel about it, we're halfway through the season now, and I know Shane shot. Yeah, thank you. Shane shot Otis. That's what happened in that scene.
Yeah, and we don't have a problem with that.
Shane shot Otis. I didn't either. I mean, are we all feeling doctor deprived here?
Yeah.
I
A little bit.
a little bit, yeah. I think some of us are a little bit. And maybe that'll. I mean, I get it. So we all understand the problems with filming or whatever, but I would like to see a real good. I want to see one of those real good Doctor Saves the Day episodes. Now, certainly at the end of this episode, it was interesting because, you know, they're terrible racist jerks, and the Doctor still is going to save them, right?
But that's who he is. I mean, that's why I said I would have liked some kind of like discussion, I guess. I feel like I would have liked to hear them talk about why these people deserve to be saved or not. I don't know. That's kind of
well. This is the second episode of the season. I'm going to put a picture up there. This is the second episode of the season where the doctor saved the bogeyman a couple weeks ago, where the bogeyman is this monster that's been scaring the children and has to go. And then the doctor's like, wait, he's the one of his kind in the whole world, in the whole universe. So I got to save him. He has a right to live, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. The doctor's hard to. The doctor, you know, we haven't seen it this season, but he has a reputation as kind of a killer. We've seen many episodes where the doctor goes to a certain world and like, oh my God, it's the doctor. You are known as
at least from the other character's point of view. Yeah.
Previous doctors.
Worlds or whatever they call them. That's not from this. I don't know why I said Destroyer of Worlds. That's something else.
Yeah, but he's like, you know, except for really wanting to wipe out the Daleks, the doctor has like eliminated and what he's done to Gallifrey also. But we've seen the doctor kill a lot of people who needed to be killed, but we have not ever seen him abandon he's not going to abandon those people to be killed, even if they are racist jerks.
Yeah.
But you know, in the end, they cause their own annihilation, really, right? Like they refuse to be saved. They're so racist. They're like, whatever, you're not like us, so we're not going with you. And it's like, well, y'all are gonna, bad choice.
Yeah,
that's a bad choice. And they choose their own. They choose their
own fate,
lives, right?
Yeah.
And they're too dumb to. I mean, they don't choose it. They're too.
You're right. They're too dumb to even realize
they're too blinded to see it, right?
Yeah.
They're too blinded to see it, I think.
You know what's kind of funny though to me, if you think about it though, these are like AJ said, the 1%. You know, these are like the rich kids that don't do anything for themselves. I mean, the whole thing about like them working 2 hours a day and all that. I'm kind of surprised that they think they can go out into this world that's like, you know, apocalyptic, whatever. I know they showed a picture of it for like 2 seconds. And how are they going to even like take care of themselves or survive? Do they even know how to take care of themselves? Because they're going out there by themselves and somehow they think they're going to survive. That's not going to go well. But I guess that's kind of the point. They just don't see it. They just think that they deserve to live and that they deserve to have everything and that it'll just go right. I guess is what they think in their head. I don't,
because like that's all they see, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely is an episode I think that gave you a lot to think about. It was surprising, and like I said, I do like that he's kind of doing things that we're not expecting. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't totally love it.
In other Doctor Who news, Ark mentioned that William Russell passed away today. He played Ian on the 1963 series. He just missed 100. He was going to be 100 in a couple months. You know, I got to say, I'm almost done with season 2 right now, and it took me a minute to warm up to Ian. I did not like Ian the first couple story arcs.
Yeah.
He was annoying, but he kind of grew on me.
Well, 100. Wow. I mean, you can't feel bad. That's a good.
Just shy of 100.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a heck of a good long time there. Wow. So all right, have we?
Yeah, let's
Good. With
If anybody has any more comments, just let us know, and we can always go back. All right. So what do we want to do? Dark Matter or Interview with the Vampire? Interview. All right.
Let's do interview.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. These are going to be separated in my head. I watched like an episode and a half together, but I thought this episode was a little bit better, I guess. But I still think it was better last season.
So every week I have to struggle. Excuse me. Every week I have to struggle to separate and not think about the book while watching the episode and make an opinion about the episode itself. The episode itself is fairly good. However, I'm getting extremely tired. I want to know what Armand is up to. I don't understand why Armand was messing with Daniel during the interview. I'm not sure what his goal there is. It's not clear what he's doing. But I don't know. Armand is just like I'm a little tired of the Armand and Louis backstory. It feels very needy on both sides, and it kind of pulls me. Everything else I liked. I thought Claudia had amazing scenes. The scene when she flips out on Louis and says, "Once again, you chose somebody else over me." That was a great scene. I liked her interactions with the seamstress, which, by the way, the seamstress gave probably one of the best lines I've ever heard on a TV show. When she said, "Hold on, give me a second." When she said, "I was inviting a boy to cradle my tits." I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I wasn't like supporting the Nazis. I was just inviting a scared boy to cradle my tits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as a book reader, I have some problems. like the continuing problem of Armand being around at this point. And that's something when they went to the museum and he talked about the painting and his past, that's something that was pulled from Armand's book. That's not in Vampire.
Yeah, you don't learn that till much later. I appreciated it. I thought it was maybe necessary at this point, right?
Yeah, it's nice to at least get to know a little bit more about him, but I agree with you. You said like some of the love story is really good, and other parts I agree they're both kind of needy. Yeah, I think that some of the things he did kind of surprised me a little bit because he seems like he lets Louis do whatever he wants, even though it's obviously causing a lot of discourse among the other vampires. But he's really mean to Claudia, and I guess I was a little surprised by that because I felt like he would let it go and he didn't. I don't know whether he should have or not. I'm just saying that I was just kind of surprised the way he treated her. But going back to what you were saying about where Claudia's like, you chose somebody over me again. His only response was that, well, you chose the coven first. She's, yeah, I can see that she's upset and he's not quite getting it. But yeah, question though, and I don't know if this is just because I haven't read the book. Are you guys like, we supposed to be kind of confused by what's going on with like the what Daniel's seeing and stuff? I didn't know if I'm missing something that I'm not getting. Are they supposed to be, and I think I asked this last time, are they supposed to be like putting these images in his head, or are these like memories? I was so kind of
lost. That's exactly what I was getting at. Armand is doing something to him. That's what I was saying. I don't understand what's going on because none of this is in the book. Armand is not there for the interview in the book. So, and Daniel's also not.
Whoop, you went out there a second.
I think those scenes are Armand digging into Daniel's memories. And because, 2 weeks ago when Armand was like, oh, you, he knows all the stuff about Daniel's wife and how they different things about their life, and later Louis apologizes, right? Or one of them apologizes and says, I shouldn't have done that. I think those are him digging into Daniel's memories. Now, if you saw the promo for next week, AJ, they're moving into some other book stuff. The interview is, which I think it might be problematic. I think all this stuff, so for me, sometimes the interview is the more compelling part of the episode, sometimes less compelling. And I feel like lately, whatever Armand's doing in Daniel's mind is it's taking away from the story that they're telling, and it's creating this like side mystery thing that might be unnecessarily distracting from what's going on, right?
Ark says same thing. She thinks he's pulling out sort of the same thing. He's pulling out Daniel's memories, and
to use against him.
Yeah, and she also said she likes their backstory. I have to. One question I have is there's this scene in this one where Lestat kind of disappears, Lestat. When he's like talking to him on the bench, because he's like more outright talking to him right now and actually answering him. I'm curious, is he going to be completely disappeared for a while? Because I feel like, and you've said this a few times, Karen, that he is very charismatic and like he's a good part of the show that I feel like is really missing now that we just have Louis and Armand. And I have to question if he's going to be gone even more. Is it going to get more, I don't know, boring without him there, for lack of a better?
I was kind of thinking the same thing, because Sam Neill right now is the best, if not the second best part of the show.
Yeah, I don't have a good picture of him, I don't think, from this episode. For me, it might not be true of all viewers, but for me, so in the book, Armand is also, look, vampires are supposed to be charismatic. They're like magically, and Armand is also a very alluring and attractive vampire. But to me, Louis and Armand don't have 1/millionth of the spark that Louis and Lestat have, right? Yeah. And so it's hard for me personally to see. Look, I get why Louis might choose Lestat over.
I'm just laughing because Ark said about having makeout sessions.
Yeah, this is with the memory.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like, I can see why he chose Lestat over Claudia, in the sense that he didn't kill Lestat and has left Claudia both of them at great risk, right? Mm-hmm. And I could kind of see why he would do that. I don't really see why Louis would ever choose Armand over Claudia. I don't think that Louis thinks that is what he has done, but I do.
But he even doesn't want to even call him his companion for a while. Like, he doesn't even see it as that. He just sees it as just sleeping with them.
I disagree. I don't know, though.
Well, that's what he says. I'm not saying that's necessarily what it is, but that's what he says.
Does he not see it as that, or is it that he's in love with Lestat?
I think he's still in love with Lestat.
Yeah, he doesn't. Absolutely. I mean, right? He's like, he doesn't see it like that. He's trying to be all casual. He's in love with, and he knows Lestat is alive out there, and he's like, well, it's kind of a twisted thing.
No, wait. You say that though, but he thinks Lestat's dead, right? I mean, we don't know. I don't know, because I haven't read the book or anything.
They did not burn Lestat. They just sent him to the dump. So. Right, he's not dead. He's not like out there living his best life. He could still be wrapped up.
He could eventually come back.
Yeah, he could be in the dump eating rats. He could be in some sort of they don't really know. Like, Louis and Claudia are both inexperienced vampires, and they don't really know, but they know they didn't do one of the two things they need to do that would kill him. So, like, Louis, I think, really has in the back of his head that Lestat could come back. Might come back.
I don't know that he's going to be happy with him if he does, though.
No, I have to agree with you there, Jamie. I don't have a picture of them together. but I think his like pulling back from Armand is partly about Louis, but I also, to me, I'm not sure like what Armand's offering that Louis should be grabbing onto. Like Armand is like he's all coven, and he keeps telling Santiago, sorry, this picture's not very big, and so you guys are floating around there next to it. He keeps telling Santiago, "Oh, I'm trying to recruit Louis. I'm trying to recruit. Really, I'm going to recruit him. I'm going to get him to join." Right? Which he's not trying at all to recruit Louis. He's in love, hot for Louis. Is he in love with Louis? I don't know. He says he is. But he keeps telling these guys, and he keeps telling all of these guys, wrong shot. He keeps telling all these guys that he's trying to recruit Louis, right? And he's really not, right?
No, he's not. He's just kind of placating them. You know what I find funny though, and I don't know, but I just thinking about it is that he's supposed to be their coven leader and he's supposed to be in charge of everything. I find it funny, and maybe a little bit of irony there that he did it again, that everything got turned on its head because he didn't stop Lestat from doing what he wanted, and from like he didn't kill him and punish him, whatever. Or no, originally Lestat, back when Lestat told them.
You mean back then? Okay.
Yeah,
Lestat.
but he's done this. He's doing the same thing with Louis. He's just kind of like he's the leader, and somebody new comes in and does whatever they want, and he is not. Like he's not leading, he's not stopping him, and I just like you would think that he would know that things are gonna, the shit's gonna hit the fan. It's kind of obvious, and I guess maybe it is just supposed to be because he's so infatuated he doesn't care. I don't know.
Well, but, with Lestat, things turned out for the better.
Yeah, they did, and they may. So. Well, we know they probably won't, but they could. He doesn't know what's going to happen this time. And also, I just wanted to add in before we get too far away from it that Ark was saying that he did Lestat open the dump. I think it may have like the last few seconds or whatever, just kind of like that. But I don't remember. It's been a while. Maybe.
I mean, yeah. So Armand. It's not that he lets new people do what they want. It's that he lets hot new guys that he likes do it. Right?
Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate.
Because while Claudia is Louis' sister, she is being like hazed like a new like fraternity pledge, which seems to be the standard way of indoctrinating a new person into the coven. And it's kind of in a cruel way. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to be dressed as this little girl. It's humiliating. It reminds me every single night." And they're like, "Oh, it's 2 hours a day, whatever." And I'm really kind of on Claudia's side with this, right?
Oh, I am too.
Yeah, me too.
Because Claudia is really looking forward to, she's made a friend, but she's the seamstress. She's trying to dress more like a woman. And be a little bit more of like who she really is. And they're just like, not only does she have to be this child, but she's still working in the rat room every day. And I had this picture of her, which I guess I failed to. There it is. They make her go around and wear this, like give out the tickets every night, right? And she's really,
Jamie, she's not just being punished; she's being paraded around like that.
Like Laura Town. Jamie, you have not read the books. What's your feeling on this Claudia storyline?
Yeah, I think it's sad what they're doing. Like, I get the hazing in that, but what they're doing to her is cruel, and that's why I said I was kind of surprised that Armand, especially if he cares so much about Louis, that he's just treating her like crap. But it seems like the other vampires don't mind being treated like crap. So I don't know, because that other guy that he's like, "Oh, I work here and I pick up the condoms or whatever off the floor, and it's okay." So yeah, I definitely see the juxtaposition. I find it interesting too, though, that they do mention when they're telling their rules that Louis and Claudia didn't necessarily even know about, but they're like, "We never turn children." Like they mention that. But yet they don't. I was kind of surprised there wasn't like a comment about like that they're letting her live even though she's that. Like I thought for a moment, and granted I haven't read the book, but I thought for a moment when they were saying that and letting her like take their blood and that they were going to turn around and kill her.
Oh, like 1 or 2 episodes ago, especially when she was joining the coven and they were making her swear to the laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was all like a ruse and they were going to kill her, and because Louis wasn't there when she was being, brought in or whatever. But I mean, obviously they didn't, but because I keep saying I'm assuming that something bad is going to happen to Claudia because we don't see her in the interview. At least that's the impression I'm getting, that something's going to go horribly wrong at some point. So I thought maybe that was what was going to happen. I had no clue. I just want to put Ark's comment up because that cracked me back. It was with what you were saying about him letting hot guys do what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that one of the reason you're not supposed to turn a child is because they can't responsibly manage the gift, right? Like they will always be reckless. They can't control their emotions. This idea that Claudia will always be an adolescent and a younger child would be unable to. But it really is Louis is the one who's being reckless and careless. Like Claudia is following the rules. Claudia joined the coven. Claudia's doing what she's told. She's not happy about it, but she's doing it. And Louis out there like hanging out in the salons of Paris, hunting on the side, do it right. Like Louis is the one who, I mean, you shouldn't turn a child, but the child is the one who's doing what's expected of her right now.
So it isn't just because they can't age then. It's more the way they think that a child will continue to act.
That's the way it's been phrased in the recent episodes. If you like kind of pull out
because I remember you saying something. I'm asking because I remember you guys having a conversation, and I think this was partially to do with the movie you were talking about before, where you were saying that like about her not going through puberty. And granted, she's older in this, so it doesn't kind of quite have that, but that like she would never go through puberty or whatever and that kind of thing. And
in the book, Claudia's 5 years old when she's turned. Her mind does mature, and she becomes very frustrated at being trapped in a 5-year-old's body and looked at as really like almost a baby, right? Like 5 years old, but she's got a much more sharp and mature mind and interests than a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, because like however a child vampire acts, it's also just cruel to the person.
I mean, would you say that's correct, AJ? That she's not the mind of a child in that body in the book?
No, she definitely has the mind, but at the same time, I can't put it as eloquently as Anne Rice did. But basically, because she never went, in the book, because she didn't go through puberty and she didn't, and she has all these adult things that she's never going to be able to do, it kind of makes her lose her mind.
Yeah, regardless of how a kid vampire would behave, it's just cruel, period.
Well, yeah, she can never have like an adult friendship. She can never experience a different type of love other than like an adult for a tiny child. She can never, and she does kind of go crazy. I will say that every version of Claudia in the book, in the movie, in the show, less in the show, but in the show, is a vicious one of the most vicious killers of all kind. Even pretty vicious vampires are like, whoa, what's with Claudia, right? And it has to do with the age at which she's turned. I do think in the show they have commented that she will always be an adolescent and won't. I mean, we see Claudia being frustrated at not being able to grow, but I think in any story of a 14, 15-year-old girl, you often see the story being of her wanting to be, to grow up fast. But I feel like in the show they have, I don't know, I don't feel like previous Claudias have been stunted emotionally so much in the way that they've implied that this Claudia would be. And at any rate, she's towing the line right now. And everyone's like, don't turn a child, but she's really, it's Louis who's, and they're mean to her and they're hazing her, and Louis not having it, right? Like the scene where Louis attacks Santiago was kind of surprising.
Yeah, and Santiago even makes the point. They make actually the point a couple times that like his maker and stuff, and that they're in those drawers or whatever, that like they've been banished, killed, whatever you want to call it, because they didn't follow the rules. And that's why I think it, like I said, I think it's kind of funny because he's letting them do what they, in this case, Louis do what he wants, and nobody is stepping up, and that's why not Armand, Santiago has
Santiago.
such a big problem with it, which I don't blame him in that sense, but
Well, Santiago's also suspicious of their story
yes,
because what leads
for
up
good
to
reason.
this is him questioning his accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems to be Louis, though, he doesn't like. You notice that though. Like he may suspect them, but he seems to like Claudia. Like he kind of like with the whole thing with like her journal. Like he knows she's not following the rules, and he's basically like, we don't, just don't get caught. It's sort of what he says. Like we don't all follow us, we don't end up like him. Which I think is surprising because he's so. I kind of sometimes wonder: is it just that he wants to lead, or does he like Armand? Maybe there's a little jealousy there even.
Yeah.
I'm getting a charger if you hear me walk.
I don't know, but yeah, he's. I mean, he's really like irritated. I think that Louis, the rules don't apply to Louis. Like, I mean, I'd be irritated also if I spent like 100 years living in the coven and obeying the rules. It doesn't have to, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get that. So, all right, well, next week, I saw the promo for next week. It should be interesting to see where the interview goes next week. I mean, we didn't talk too much about the interview because the interview didn't really. So, I mean, on the interview side this week, we saw like, I don't have a picture of it, but so I'm just going to put up a picture of these two guys talking in the interview. But like Louis and Armand are in this fight about Armand putting photographs, other photographers' pictures into the album, right? Like, what? I didn't even know what that was about. I'm like, what are you even fighting about here, Louis? Like, I'm not even sure I got what that was. There was like this lovers' quarrel going on, and I mean, it has to do with, I guess, the way. It's so clear. God, we have horrible feedback.
Because he thought Louis wasn't good enough, and he didn't want Daniel to see them and think he sucked. I don't know. I'm not sure what was supposed to be in that either. And the other side of it is it could have been he made a comment like he didn't do it, and made it sound like maybe Louis did it subconsciously because he wanted to make himself look better. I don't know. It was weird.
I mean, I felt like it comes down to it's so obvious the way Armand is manipulating and staging everything all the time. Like Daniel's on him. There's not one thing about Armand that is real. That is not, he's all
it's artificial.
Amy, what's going on with you?
Sorry, I said I had to go get my charger. My iPad was dying.
He's all image, all artifice, all lies. Like Armand is, and he's clearly manipulating Louis, and I'm not really sure what's going on with those photographs, but and why Louis was pitching a fit, but that's ultimately what it boils down to, right? Is the way that Armand manages Louis at all times.
Yeah,
it's a very unhealthy relationship, but
his relationship with the stat wasn't any better.
I mean, Louis a guy that like does he? I don't want to say he looks for abusive relationships, but he's got a pattern, right? Yeah. He's got a pattern of older men. I mean, or older vampire wise, like were they all like?
I know. It's just that's why it was funny because it's just funny saying it that way because obviously the vampires are hundreds of years older than him. It was just funny.
Yeah. Like Armand's like 500 years old, Louis like 250 years old or whatever, right? Like, and he goes for these older men that are abusive and manipulative, and he kind of doesn't see it or doesn't want to see it. So the whole interview thing, I'm not really sure where. I mean, I read the books. I kind of know where it's going, but I'm not really sure where they're going.
Well, I think they're trying to keep people who have read it surprised too, which is good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment because Ark made a comment that I didn't even think of. I mean, that wasn't how I seen it, but it's kind of interesting. Remember, I had asked a couple minutes ago before my battery started dying and I was moving around that I wondered if maybe Santiago is jealous and actually likes Louis. She said maybe he likes Claudia. That kind of, I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
That Santiago might be attracted to Claudia.
Yeah, because he's not attacking her, like he's always like not trusting their story and saying, about, like you said, like about Louis' accent, but he's very blasé about her breaking the rules, and that's why I said I think he likes Claudia. I don't know that I necessarily think he's attracted to Claudia. I think he sort of liked Claudia and was sort of taking her under his wing, but I got the impression that, like I said, that maybe he likes Armand and he's more jealous of Louis, but that's, I don't know, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. I guess it's possible.
I had not either, but I kind of get that, and like, and not in the sense of being attracted to is she a child? She's 14. Yeah, she's a child. I mean, I think maybe in night, whatever. But she also is a charismatic personality, and she's very passionate, and she's very like committed to being a vampire, right? All things that might be attractive to Santiago. And also he clearly has cycled through every single person in the company and needs to find a new person to
yeah.
I mean, he's not an appropriate partner for her,
though, because I would have been more expected him to be jealous of Claudia in the sense that she's kind of taking over being the star of the show, but he seems to be all for that, which kind of surprised me. I didn't expect that.
I mean, he's been doing the show for 100 years. And
maybe he's just over it, I guess.
Well, he probably has seen cycles where certain new acts come on and they are the flash in the pan for a while, and then the show changes and another different.
He also flatters him a lot too, though. Like, oh, he's such a great actor and all that too. So he probably likes her for that reason too.
I don't know. I mean, he clearly hates Louis, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
He hates Louis. Mm-hmm. And not just because Louis can do what he. I mean, he has Louis' number. Like in this scene where they're all at dinner, and remember, he starts like speaking. He's so much more powerful as a vampire. He's so much older, and he can read Louis' thoughts to the point of reciting them right as long as Louis is talking. And he basically is calling Louis out as a poser, right? He's like, you pseudo-intellectual dilettante poser. Like, you think you can, like, and that, I mean, also that Louis, of all of the, Louis, like, can't really give up his human side. Louis, do you think there's a part of Louis inside you guys who, like, he regrets it? He wants to be a human. Like, he misses his human life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Louis cannot let go of his humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wants to like, and like Santiago kind of has his number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something bad is definitely going to happen.
Excuse me. Sorry.
All right. I guess we got that all covered. Everything we covered that happened this week, huh?
Yeah.
All right. That's bringing us to
Dark Matter.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second, and I'm going to upload all these pictures also from Dark Matter that I just downloaded, if I can find them. Dark Matter, how you guys? So this was this episode. I like this episode, but it's a little slow, right? Like, we're sort of still in this whole, like, let's open another door and see what's going on. I don't know. Let me put up these photos while you guys talk for a second about the episode. How about that?
No, this is the one where he goes into the world where that version of his Danielle is sick and his son's dying or dead, right?
Dead.
Yeah. Yeah, we see a different. I mean, look, it's about alternate universes. They have to pad it with different universes. So I don't know. Like I said, it's hard for me to say whether it's slow or not because I watched everything all together. So
I think I see what Karen means. It was a little slow. He annoyed me though. There was times where Jason annoyed me, like that one where she's dying and he gets the morphine for her, and I'm like, okay, you got the morphine, now give it to her and go. Like, I get his, he's compassionate, even though it's not his Daniela, but go. Like, I feel like sometimes they linger a little too long in these worlds that aren't the one they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the world where he's in prison in the next one, which was pretty, it was pretty obvious that was going to be, that it wasn't going to be the same world, even though the way they were juxtaposing it, showing Jason 2 and then Jason Prime and going back and forth. I'm like, yeah, it's totally not. He's not in the right world. What I thought was kind of interesting was they found Blair.
Oh, this is the one. Yeah. And that's where I was going to say, because you guys were mentioning this last week about, we were asking, did anybody else survive, or is it just they didn't know how to get back? We were sort of talking about that, and I couldn't say anything. I think that's interesting, that she's there. I kind of think too, like what would you do if it was you? Like, you kind of feel like, why does she not leave? But at the same time, there would be kind of that fear of like the next one could be worse,
Well, I mean, she's got it. She's understanding it. She's got it figured out. She realizes if she's not 100%, then she's not. She could end up somewhere worse.
Yeah.
She's got to make sure she is completely zen to get home.
Yeah, but if you never try, you're never going to get out of the hell you're in.
But that's the thing. She knows herself. She knows she's not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she knows she's got to get there, and she just knows she's not there. And that
I would still think she would want to travel with them and let them take over and at least not be alone. I don't know.
But I think she can't. I think she knows that because of how she is right now, she will lead all three of them to do.
I think that she thinks she'll even screw them up. I see. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, being with them is not going to make her any more able to do it.
Especially since they're not going to the same place.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that they could follow them and they could open the door first. But yeah, you're right. It could screw up. I guess that's true. You don't know who is the one controlling what door opens. So it could just end up even worse. But still, I don't know. If it was me, I think I would not want to be alone and I would take that chance. But that's me.
Well, I think that's what Amanda is saying to her. She's like, look.
Well, yeah, she's trying to get.
She's like, look, who cares if it doesn't go the way you want it to go? We might be the last people you see. So would it be better to be alone in a bad place or to be with people in a worse place? I guess, right?
Yeah.
Is what we're saying there. I don't think there was not that a big ton of photos, and typical of dark matter, every picture is like super dark. So they went to that world where there was a title where Lake Michigan was like gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Can I just interrupt here for a second, you guys? I want to say that we have a big chunk of people who are watching us on X, on the Sci-Fi Vision X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you guys are commenting in the chat, X is they don't come through into us here on StreamYard. So if you want to like put a question or a comment into our comment to us, so us to see it, you got to jump over to like YouTube, or what's that thing called? Starts with Twitch. You got to jump over to another platform for us to see comments. If you're like, why are they not answering me here on X?
I didn't know you couldn't. I didn't even know that. You know more than I do. I didn't know
not either.
Comments wouldn't go through.
I did not know it until last night. I co-hosted another show here on NDB. Ark was there, and Roger mentioned it. That comments that if you comment to us on X, it doesn't come through. So you got to jump over to talk to us. You got to jump over to another platform.
Although usually I'm checking and seeing if people respond to it, so I probably would see it, but
okay,
not necessarily instantly like we do with Ark, who's commenting through YouTube. Yeah, if you're on the Facebook page or the YouTube page for Sci-Fi Vision, you can comment on the video, and we will see it.
Okay. At any rate, so I thought it was a little. We saw multiple. They opened multiple different. We see the tidal wave. We see what happens here. Look, it's
darkness,
black, right?
Yeah.
And we finally saw Amanda and Jason like make it at least to Chicago. But yeah, I mean, for Blair, I guess she's found a way to at least exist where she is, and she's maybe being with the giant killer wasp moths, whatever they are. They're like the giant killer wasps. We just lost AJ. Went off the stage. Did he remove himself? I put him back.
Yeah.
Mark is everywhere. Maybe that's better than being in the hallway, the corridor, right? Like the corridor is driving people insane. Clearly, like you spend too much time in that corridor and you start losing your shit. She, I guess, for Blair, doesn't want to. But these two, Amanda and Jason, they're getting closer, right? Like they haven't made it. They made it to the world where, this was the sort of crux of the episode, the highlight of the episode, right? Where Jason gets home and it turns out that there's a virus is like wiping everybody out. I was surprised. So for a second, I forgot what show I was watching. And when the military / public health authorities come and they're like, let us test you. Oh, you're negative. Oh, you're both negative. For a second, I thought you ever see that movie Contagion where Matt Damon, you're negative. Holy crap, you must be immune. Oh my God, whatever, right? Like they seem not really surprised to stumble upon a couple of like negative people. Jason goes back to give Daniela the morphine and to put it bluntly, to put her out of her misery, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys think it was sad? Did you guys think it was stupid for him to do that?
I thought it was sad.
I was okay with everything up to the point where he lingered a little too long.
Yeah, like he's putting himself at risk. Look, it's not her, but I get that if it was, even though it's not her, like you would still feel kind of like it is.
Right, and I get that, but like Amanda said, if you get sick, you can't ever get back to your Daniela.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking it through, but I kind of get it.
I can imagine that it's very confusing. That intellectually, it's not her, but it's her, right? It's her, but for some decision that you or she or someone made somewhere along the line, right? Or in this case, a decision that a scientist made. But
in this reality, COVID got carried away.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, and they're very close. There's a point where now I have a picture. Is this so? No, wrong picture. I don't have a picture of him, but he's the same guy. Other Jason, Jason 2, Jason B. I think it's he who says, we can only go to worlds that are adjacent. There's an infinite number of doors, but we can only go to universes that are adjacent to ours, that are pretty close to ours. Right. I thought that was...
Well, some of them are pretty different. I think it's more probably that the choices weren't that far off, maybe, but it could make a big difference, I guess.
Thank you, Jamie, because they went to a universe that had an enormous Lake Michigan tidal wave. Yeah. And they went to one that, remember the one that was just like a forest that appeared to Chicago had never been built? And they seemed to go... or the werewolf. They seem to, with the werewolf, they seem to go. You're right, Jamie. Like that's to me, that was a little bit of a
Not exactly explained right. Yeah.
or a continuity error, or like some of these. If that was true, wouldn't you go to every universe you see be just like yours, but for a decision you made, right? Could you really go to like a prehistoric dinosaur universe? Could you go to a ice age universe, right? Like some of them
I don't
seem
know. I mean, I think the point that, and that's where I said I think maybe they didn't explain it, that we don't know whose choice was it was different where the universe is split. It's like you said, maybe a scientist made a different choice. I kind of assumed that it's like one small choice that was different rippled out a lot, but the fact that he makes that comment does make it not explained right. They should have just cut that comment out.
No, because I don't think there's a person who made a choice that caused Lake Michigan to be like a roaring ocean, or I don't think there's a person made a choice that caused Lake Michigan to be replaced by a forest, right? Like those are
that's not
those are
an individual person.
No, those are evolutionary differences.
Right, which I get they want for the sake of good television or good story in the case of the book. But yeah, making that comment makes it not really make tons of sense.
To me, at least, I was like, I don't know, paying a little too much attention to that, maybe. But I like these guys going through their different timelines and different universes or whatever. I think 3 episodes of it now is enough. Like I'm ready to stop seeing them trying to open doors and figure out how to control it. Can they just learn how to control it now? So for the rest of the episode, like can the story move along? I was kind of I don't want to jump to the ending. The ending kind of surprised me, but I don't want to jump to that yet because I guess I want to talk about these guys, like other Jason, like Jason. I'm not sure which one that is actually. Jason 2 and is his name Leighton? Leighton 2?
Leighton. That's Leighton.
Jason.
That's Prime. 2. That's Prime Leighton.
Prime Leighton and Jason 2. Prime Leighton is like I got a definite vibe off him. I'm gonna stop. What did you guys think of Leighton in this episode?
I'm trying to remember what happened to Leighton in this episode.
He just wants to journey to other worlds. For every vial, he told me give him $1 million for every vial he got him, and he got 50 of them.
I think he wants to go on an adventure, and
I think
stupid, in my opinion. But the fact that he wants to is pretty stupid. But
I think he's behaving very much like a drug addict, like that guy who did heroin. He did heroin once, and now he can't. Like he's addicted for it. I thought very much I saw that in him, that he's like, when can we go again? When can we go again? I want to go. I want to go. I want to go.
I agree
when is my training over? When can I? And they said, I will pay you $1 million for every vial you can get.
I have to, this is where I want to say though, have you not watched Sliders? Like, why would you take the chance of never getting home again? You might end up with something really bad.
But see, I think he has nothing in his life. He's just
right.
like a nothing rich playboy who didn't really do anything. And he just sits around and like gets drunk every day, right? He has nothing.
Yeah.
And he saw the first universe Jason took him to was where his beloved grandfather was still alive and his life was different, right? And Jason knows him as a brilliant like guy that ran their company or whatever. So, I mean, I could see maybe why he's wanting to give up where he is. I think he doesn't see the risks. I think Jason is underselling the risks. And I think
Jason wants the money. So.
I think he's very much like a drug addict.
No, yeah, you're right. It is.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And I think it's not going to go well for him. And I think Jason knows that and is using him. Jason wants the money, right? Because Jason's going to have his cake and eat it too. He's going to have Daniela and he's going to be rich and he's going to have a company. And I think, when he goes through and gets the 2 backpacks and then jumps back, it's not because he wants to travel or he wants to sell that and have the money. I'm not sure he legit wants to rebuild the company.
I think he just wants that life. He wants to be rich and have everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has Daniela now, but he realizes he misses the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like
The
he
grass
thought,
is always greener, right?
right? He thought
The
all
moral of the story.
he thought he's willing to give it up for Daniela, but he's not. We talked about this. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants Daniela and he wants the life.
Yeah.
And like he wants, I feel like he wants to make a different choice, but he doesn't want to make a different choice. He wants to make both choices.
And I think he hasn't quite recognized that yet. We do. We see it, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's still trying to make it work.
Yeah. So the ending surprised me a little bit.
Made perfect sense to me.
Did it? Maybe I'm surprised it came this early.
Remind me what happened at the end, because it's been
I think the fact that when he went to get the 2 bags and he talked to that technician and she told him what happened, he knows that Jason Prime is trying to get back to his world. So the logical choice is to close the box.
Oh,
so Leighton's like, what's going to happen after I, and he's like, oh, I have to close the box. Which instantly I thought, oh, well, Jason, like, sorry, Leighton, you're cut loose. You can never come back. But the more I thought, so then I started thinking about it, like, can he close the box? Like, scientifically, can you close the box? Because the box isn't really the box.
Well, that's what I said too.
It exists,
well, yeah,
but
because
it doesn't
we saw
exist.
how it appears even when it wasn't there to begin with.
Right. Like, Jason didn't build that box.
He built his box.
No, he built the first box in his universe. But the box that's in Jason Prime's universe that he introduced Leighton to, that appeared when Jason 2 opened the door. He didn't build that box. And the box is always in the same coordinates. So if Jason Prime comes through, the box will just reappear. You can't stop the box from coming.
That's exactly
one thing that isn't explained right. That they've.
That's what I'm trying to
messed up.
Figure out if there's
messed up.
Going to be some kind of brilliant scientific-y way.
Like, I don't think they haven't explained it well. Well, they haven't explained it yet, but why would Jason think that he can block the box? That's like when
he's a genius. He built it in the first place. Listen, I'm not saying that I think he can do it. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see him try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, the way the rules have been explained to us so far, the box always just is there when you open a door and go into universe, and it's always in the same coordinates, right? So should he destroy that box, he could never leave.
Well, yeah.
But then if Amanda and Jason Prime appeared, their box, like, everybody's got their own box, kind of, right?
Yeah, we don't know what would happen, and it seems strange that he thinks he can do that. I agree. I think that part isn't explained one way or another, right?
Well, not yet, but I don't think it's possible. Like in the rules they've given us, I don't think it's possible. So, yeah, are they going to break the rules, or are there rules we're not aware of yet, or is Jason just wrong and he can't do it? But it seems to me, it seems so obvious that how could Jason not know it? Jason 2.
The only thing I can think of is if he knows some way to make it so that this world isn't adjacent.
Yeah, maybe it'd be it.
Oh, to stop them from coming through, not so they can never open that door. Basically, to close the door. He says, "I need to like shut."
Well, maybe he can maybe he can close the door, but can't get rid of the door. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. He's gonna weld it shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow to stop them. I mean,
we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is episode 5. There are like 5 more. I guess maybe what surprised me. There are 4 more. I guess maybe what surprised me about it was to see it come this early, where Jason and Amanda haven't even managed to get there yet, right? And they're not even really that close. I mean, I guess they're a little closer. They actually got to his house.
Well, I mean, you're as close as you ever are. I mean, it only takes his mindset right once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but his mindset is getting better and better. He actually got to a place where he saw Daniela, and they got to a place where
he's in prison.
Where he's in prison. But we got to a place where Amanda saw her mother, right? Like Amanda's mother, but Amanda's dead. In that same world. So they're getting closer to where they're getting more and more adjacent, right?
Yeah.
They're getting closer to the exit ramp. But like, so I guess can they get there before Jason locks them out?
I would hope so. Otherwise, the show's going to end very unusually.
And like, is Leighton a character who's just a means to Jason to get the money, or is there like more to, like, is Jason gonna
play a more important part? Leighton.
I think this Leighton is, yes.
Yeah, because Leighton is gonna play a part.
Yeah, this Leighton is a means to an end.
Yeah, he's either gonna get to the other universe somehow, or come back and be mad that Jason basically, yeah, I don't know, but this guy's got a role to play, right? Like, he's underestimated.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else for us, Jamie?
The only other thing I was going to say is, assuming that tomorrow's episode is the one I think it is, I gotta double check. I'm going to be putting up the Jimmy Simpson interview. I had held it because it had sort of a spoiler in it, so that will be coming.
Oh, that's great, because I was just thinking, God, we haven't seen Jimmy Simpson in a while, and I wonder, what are we going to see him again? He makes the drug, right? So he has a role to play, maybe. Yeah.
I don't think he's done yet.
Yeah. All right, cool. I mean, he's not. They wouldn't be putting him up for interviews yet, right? So, I'm interested to see where he comes in, and maybe could he be a guy like? Part of this whole story is like, are Daniela and Charlie going to figure out that that it's not Jason, but maybe he could. What's that guy's name? Ryan? Could he be?
Ryan,
yeah, Ryan.
Could he be the guy to figure it out? Have you guys seen the trailer for next week's episode?
I have not.
I have not, but I've seen next week's episode, so that doesn't help you either way.
Well, you want me to tell you what's in the trailer, AJ?
I don't care.
There's a scene where Jason is not aware that Charlie has a peanut allergy. It's in the trailer for next week, which seems to be like maybe a big giveaway that your kid might, that.
Well, Charlie's already questioned, not this past episode, last week's. He said to his mom, he's like, is it just me or is dad off a little?
Yeah.
So,
AJ,
always the kids and the pets that figure it out, right?
AJ, if you woke up one day and bought your teenage son a car, would your family think something was different about you?
Yes.
Yeah.
First, they'd ask me what bank I robbed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, Jason doesn't really have money either. And then your wife would be like, "What are you doing?" Just like on this show. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's cool, Jamie. I look forward to seeing that interview.
Yeah, that'll go.
Yeah.
Also, I know they're a bit behind. It was just because I had not been able to do it this week because of the way I was feeling, but all the rest of the outer range ones went up today.
Oh, great.
Those are up there. I want to see them. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So, Jamie, you're going to drop off, I guess, while we go on to talk about Discovery. But the Acolyte. So, I know AJ. I don't know if you want to talk about Godzilla before Jamie jumps, or since she didn't watch it, we'll just wait for her to go.
Well, this is a movie, right? I was asking you guys. You mentioned it. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk about it if you want. I probably won't get to see it. I don't even know. I haven't seen any of the other ones, so.
Well, I mean, I raved about it when I saw it, and now AJ has seen it.
AJ was thrilled with it. So good.
It's amazing, right? I was not underselling it, was I?
I haven't even seen a preview of it. That's what's strange. I did, because I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know why. I mean, I assume there's been trailers on TV, but I haven't seen them because I haven't seen it advertised.
Did you see it on streaming, AJ? What did you see?
I saw it on. Well, it's fun. It dropped onto Netflix with no notice.
It's not a movie in the theater.
It was already in the theater. It's been and gone.
Last year.
Oh, okay. Well, then that would make sense why I haven't seen a preview for a new movie. Okay, you lost me even more, I guess. Oh, that reminds me. There before you go into that, and then you can go into. I was going to say there is one thing I did start watching is that Eric that Netflix show with Benedict. It was pretty good so far. About his kid gets kidnapped potentially.
Oh yeah, it's not well reviewed, so I'm glad to hear you like it because the reviews.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not the most exciting show ever, but I mean, it's good. I've only
saw
seen
the trailer, and I
think I've seen
I
2
thought I was
episodes.
gonna fall asleep watching the trailer.
And what takes place in the 80s? It's I don't know. It's different. But so far, I think it's okay. But I haven't seen a whole lot of it, so I've only seen. I think I've seen 2. I want to say 1, but I think I've seen 2. But I also saw Patrick Melrose is up there too. If you get a chance to see that, that's a good show. I enjoyed that before. I've seen that a long time ago when it was first on. It's based on a book on a real guy's life, I think, if I remember rightly. I don't know.
Right.
But
All right,
anyway, Godzilla. So what's the name of this? The movie?
-1.
-1. Okay, and that's on Netflix. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a Japanese movie. You might remember talking about this, Jamie, when I saw it. It was made in Japan. It's not from the American Godzilla franchise. It's from the original.
Is it in English?
I saw it in Japanese with English subtitles. AJ, how'd you watch it?
I watched it with subtitles because it's Godzilla. So
yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it.
I mean, Artie and I have both seen a bunch of the original Godzilla movies, and you can only watch them in Japanese with subtitles. So
it felt the only thing I've seen was that Godzilla 2000 or whatever, and I don't think
it's not.
No.
Jamie, I would check. I would assume on Netflix you can get it dubbed into English, probably.
Oh, I'm sure you can. I just mean I've never watched really other than that one that I didn't even like a Godzilla movie. I don't know that that's really my cup of tea.
This movie, Jamie, this movie is unbelievable. AJ, please tell us what you thought about it.
It is amazing. Let me just tell you, not much wows me the way when Godzilla's thorns started coming out and turning blue, and then shot back in when he shot his ray out like he was cocking a gun. It was probably one of the coolest things I have ever seen, and completely unexpected. That was so awesome. I was blown away by that.
And it was nominated for an Oscar, and it won the Oscar in the visual effects category. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jamie, this movie won an Oscar for visual effects, and it was made for less than $15 million.
Wow. Yeah, maybe it is worth watching. Then hopefully when I have time, I'll have to check out. There's another new one coming out too, though, right? Because I remember
separate. This is the original.
Yeah. No. I know. I'm just saying there's another Godzilla movie coming out though. Because
Godzilla X Kong. It's on digital right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's already. Yeah, it's already been and gone. This is cannot even be compared. And Jamie, it's the rare monster movie that has a very compelling human storyline.
Yes.
That is very moving and believable, and a good through line. I mean, it works, right, AJ? Did you feel like the whole human characters really ground that?
I actually cared about the human characters, unlike most of the pretty much all the American MonsterVerse. You care about the humans at all. This, I actually cared about the humans. The story wasn't about Godzilla necessarily. It was about these people, and they're in this situation, which I thought was wonderful. I mean, I actually, I care about all the characters. I did get mad at, crap, I forgot the girl's name. When she pushed him into the alley, she pissed me off because I was like, there was plenty of time for her to just grab him and go both into the alley, but then we went and had, the very sad ending that she survived, which I gotta say I had a little trouble with that. Actually, that was the only thing that bothered me a little bit. I was like, she was obliterated by that blast.
Yeah.
How she survived and apparently was fairly good shape. But you know what the funny thing is? I can't watch. I told Artie last night. I was like, I can't watch movies anymore. I can't watch anything because I figure everything out from the tiniest detail. When she got when the neighbor got the telegram, I was like, or whatever the heck she got, I was like, oh my God, she's alive. And Artie's like, who's alive? I'm like, the girl. He's like, why do you think that? I'm like, who else is sending a telegram?
Yeah, but it's really, I hear you there, but I felt like the human story was so good, even if Godzilla never showed up, right? Like the first hour of the movie, like you're so into this like story of this guy, even if Godzilla never showed up, it would be a really good story. Like the idea of a kamikaze pilot who comes home alive is like the ultimate disgrace, right?
Yeah, the characters were so likable too. You know, his little crew there on the boat, they were all very likable.
Yeah, it's great. Jamie, check it out on Netflix.
And I love
it. Time, hopefully.
And I love after she after she quote unquote died, and they're at the funeral and everything, and his one buddy there, he gets mad at him, and he's like, why didn't you marry her? Why didn't you, tell her how you felt about her? And I love the fact that he was like, because my war is not over yet. So I thought that was like everything was just so compelling, and I thought, the time period they chose, a couple months after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I thought that, it fit in well with the story of Godzilla, why Godzilla was even there,
Yeah, it's definitely like in the top 3 movies I saw next year, and I'm not making it top one.
Next year,
last year that I saw last year. I'm sorry.
Got a tortoise there somewhere.
It's sort of a nice flip side to Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's the best movie I saw because I saw Oppenheimer last year. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, but it might be. I mean, if Best Picture is supposed to be about really good storytelling, then this movie has it.
Yeah, definitely.
Check it out. I don't know, the movie I want to go see. This isn't what's in the theater though. I still haven't gotten to. I have not been into a movie in so long because of my legs. Like now, my legs do better. There was nothing because I was going to go over Memorial Day weekend to the movies just to get out, and it's like there was nothing there. I want to go see The Watchers, that Dakota Fanning movie. It's M. Night Shyamalan, but it wasn't out yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow to Furiosa.
See, that doesn't. Then to be fair though, I never saw any of the Mad Max movies, the original or the.
You don't have to for this movie. We talked about this last week, right? I just consider the previous. I don't
know. See, I didn't. That doesn't look. I don't know. To me, does not look like something I'd enjoy. So didn't really grab me to make me want to go see it. So.
Well, I think I mentioned last week Fury Road.
I wasn't. I think I must have probably left at that point. Was it getting good? Is it getting good reviews? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Right now,
the box office for Memorial Day was disgraceful for all movies. It was a very bad Memorial Day weekend, but the movie is well reviewed by some of the prominent, outlet critics. But all movies did terrible on Memorial Day. It might say more about the state of movies than it does about any movie that came out.
Any particular one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
All right. So, Jamie, stop watching other crap on television because The Acolyte starts tomorrow and The Lazarus Project is back this weekend.
Oh, it's back already.
Saturday or Sunday.
That long ago, was it?
I don't know, but it's back on Sunday. I don't know when it left. It's been a long time, but it's back on Sunday. So
what channel is that? That's TNT or
I don't know. I don't know. It's on regular television, right? It's on maybe TNT, maybe I don't know. You're gonna have to Google it and find out and watch it.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna jump. Enjoy the rest of the.
All right. Good night, Jamie.
Podcast. Right. See you next week, and hopefully Doctor Who will be a bit better.
Yep.
Or a lot better, hopefully. All right.
Bye, Jamie.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Discovery.
the last episode. It was what, an hour and a half? It was an hour and 28 minutes on my.
It was an hour. Yeah, it was an hour and a half.
Yeah. So they shot this episode when they didn't know they were canceled, and they went back and added some episodes to make it feel like more of a true series finale, which generally worked for me. I only have like one. I only have like 5 pictures here. So I don't know. How did you? So I mean, 2 things were going on here. How did you feel about the resolution of the Indiana Jones mystery, and then how did you feel about it as an ending to the whole show?
So I thought that was kind of cool that it turns out that the progenitors were not the creators; they were just protecting it. That it was already there when they got there. So I thought that was kind of an interesting switch.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that a lot. I liked everything with Burnham and Maul in that place. I thought they thought that was really cool. Their fight was pretty cool. It was kind of very Matrix like. Overall, as a finale, I thought it was good, but I don't know. I didn't really like the time jump. Not that there was anything wrong with it. I just didn't like the fact that they did a time jump, considering the franchise is continuing. You know, we've got the what you call it coming.
Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, thank you, Starfleet Academy. You know, so I mean, I guess they did a far enough time jump that it won't affect it. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know. I tend, and this is just me, maybe personally. I tend to like a lot of shows that do this with big time jumps like this to see where everybody ended up, type of thing. I don't always like that. I mean, especially in the Star Trek universe, I think it would have been better to leave it open ended. The only good thing that came out of it was when she was on the bridge of Discovery, and she had like that vision of everybody, and we got to see Owo and Detmers finally again.
Oh yeah,
getting really tired of scheduling conflicts. First Doctor Who, and now this. That's why we didn't have Detmers and Owo the last 5 episodes, because of whatever the hell they're doing.
They're doing other stuff. So you're talking about, let me see if I can drop this. I just downloaded a picture that I could drop in here if I can get my act together to do this. But there were scenes where they showed up. Like, so I hear you that at the very end, we had a lot of, where'd they go? We had a lot of shots like this one. Hang on, it's loading.
I'm with Ark though. I wish I was hoping they were going to bring Luck back. And Ark, do you know something I don't know? The time jump's going to tie into another Discovery and Zora mission. Is there something going on of a show that we aren't aware of?
Well, I mean, it was set up that way, right? Like it. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be more, but I'm interested in the part of Ark's comment really where you were hoping they would bring Locke back. I'm not sure that I ever thought. I didn't think that was going to happen. I kind of always felt in the back of my head or in the front of my head or whatever that whatever this technology was able to do was not going to be able to bring back the dead. That Maul was on sort of a mission, that a doomed mission, and she would not be like, okay, I hear you, Ark. Was I hoping? Would that have been great and nice? Yes, but I kind of like, I kind of always thought that it was not going to be able to happen. partly because I just maybe didn't see the technology doing that, but also because like you knew where this was going was for a rapprochement and possibly like with Book and like ultimately she had to make peace with Book and become friends with Book and maybe have a future as his sister or friend or whatever, right? I guess I just never thought they were kind of a good couple. Like Mull and Luck were really believable as a couple in love.
I like
you like them?
Yeah, I like the characters. They were really well done.
They were well done, and Mull's like motivation throughout, like her loyalty to him, was really well done. Also, so yeah, I guess I don't really mean to disagree with Arc. I mean, I guess maybe
we were hoping it. We were hoping it. We just logically knew it probably wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. When we talked, Arc knows everything. We talked last week about how AJ, you and I both thought that ultimately Michael was going to decide to, or we thought maybe ultimately the technology was not going to be what they thought it was going to be, right? Like the idea that you could create life or whatever. Now, the technology did turn out to be, but I think nobody was surprised when Michael was like, oh, this power is too great. No one can have it, right? Like at the end where it is left to Michael to decide what to do with technology, and she's like, no person should have this great power, we should get it. Was Harry Potter breaking the Elder Wand at the end, right? Or like any of a million other Star Treks and other things where the power is too great. It was a little different because Michael didn't say this power is too great, no one should have it. She kind of said like, we don't need it, like we have right. She literally says we have diversity. Like we got enough planets we haven't explored yet. Why do we need to create more, kind of thing?
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised, right? None of us were surprised.
Yeah, and Art just asked the question where I was going next. And yes, I did catch that Mal is working with the time agents, which I want to ask you now, Karen. A, how did you feel about the reveal of Kovacs? And I forget, did you watch Enterprise?
I watched Enterprise, so I'm not sure I've ever seen all of it. I watched a good chunk of it. I think maybe I watched the first couple seasons and sort of got over it. I don't know Enterprise as well as I know all the other series.
Yeah. When he introduced himself as Daniels, my jaw hit the floor, and Artie was like, are we supposed to know that person? And I was like, yeah, shut up a minute. I was like, I'll explain in a minute.
Yeah. Well, and he was a time jumping guy back then.
Yeah. Daniels. I want to say he was in like 4 or 5 episodes of Enterprise throughout its run.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really cool tie-in that they used after all these years.
I think it's a good tie-in. Arc
didn't like Daniels.
Yeah. So it's not surprising that he grew up to be Kovac, right? Who also is an annoying person. I mean, I like it. I don't know that I love Star Trek getting timey-wimey. Like, I know we've always had time distortion and temporal displacement and like all this kind of stuff, but like people legit like traveling through being time agents, traveling through time. Like, I don't know that I want my Star Trek going there. Like, I like them seeking out new life and new civilizations and boldly going where no one has gone before.
What I thought was really cool, though, right before he introduced himself, when they were like, when Michael's looking around his office.
Oh yeah.
I noticed he had Geordie's visor. He had a bottle of Jean-Luc's wine and Archer's baseball.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, how? And then he introduced himself. I was like, oh, that's how.
Yeah. I just, at the end, Michael is like, oh, I got a red directive. I'm okay with red directives. They don't have to be time travel, right? Like, she's working on red directives. They're not necessarily time related. I mean, this one really wasn't. The progenitor tech wasn't really time related. I don't know. I had some. So, did you know that this episode, Jonathan Frakes directed the first half of the episode?
Yes.
And then the project, I got to look this name up to get it right. The sort of like production director or directing producer or the main director of the whole show directed the second half of the episode. And this is a person, it's a name that I think is of Nigerian. I can't pronounce without looking it up. I really apologize to the person who is the director. I'll pull it up in a second.
Things at once. Nope, that didn't work.
Hard to talk at the same time.
While you're looking for that, that was, I think, something really cool that they did, was tying in all the shows. And then Ark says DS9, not Voyager, but they did tie in Voyager also in, I think, the second episode. I remember we talked about it when they did it. So they tied in every Star Trek show, I think. Trying to think one.
Well, maybe not like Picard so much, or
no, Picard. Well, I mean, they mentioned Picard, so I mean, that kind of Picard is TNG, so
yeah, I guess. In terms of having two directors directing the episode, I found that first half of the episode. Okay, so this episode, there's always a lot of sort of like CGI and computer and special effects or whatever in Star Trek, but I thought this episode was incredibly heavy, right? Like, so much time is spent inside the probe or whatever this thing is or the technology is, and it's a low gravity environment, and we have all these kind of like interesting fighting and jumping and hopping around kind of stuff. I don't have a shot of it, but I thought the fight scene between Michael and Maul is really very good. But you know me, I can always do without slow-mo. The slow-mo surprised me. I've never seen a slow-mo fight in Star Trek, and I was like, what is Jonathan Frakes doing with the slow-mo in the scene? Like, what did Zack Snyder like call him up? I was really surprised at that. But I thought generally it was a good fight scene, and generally they did a pretty good job with all this like green screeniness and wire work or stunt people work or whatever it was. It all I thought was well done, right?
Yeah, I thought the fight scene was done really well.
Yeah. I love Saru in this episode also, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Saru, I love that they let Saru at the end be like, I'm a Kelpian, I'm a natural predator. Like, I had forgotten all that whole, like, his whole backstory in like seasons 1 and 2, where he was this like very fearful species, and then he learned that they're actually like these incredible predators, right? It was like I had kind of forgotten all about that until he was like, I'm a Kelpian.
Saru was amazing, especially when he bluffed the Primarch.
Oh yeah, that was a great scene, and it sort of really, it solidified his presence in the season, where he had been like, we had so many characters. It's important to have them in the final season, and they float in and out, but they don't necessarily really do that much, right? And then he has this really pivotal role in the final episode. He was great. And then we get to see his wedding, which was really great. That was a nice ending for him.
Yeah, I wasn't, I completely forgot about the wedding until it happened, and I was like, yay, a wedding.
Yeah, do you and do the people who are listening to us think that this could have been an okay season finale series finale without like some additional what they added, the coda at the end, which I can't really. So, by the way, I tried to add some more photos of what happens at the end, those sort of like group scenes and all that, and I can't because the file size is too large, and they can't be loaded into our platform here, or they can if I had time to like Photoshop them down to size, which I don't. But we got to see a lot of people that everybody sort of has their moment in this last scene, in this last episode, and then we have like the time, then we have everyone saying goodbye. You could have done without it, huh?
I could have definitely done without it. Like I said, a lot of shows do that time jump thing, and I don't like it then either. So it depends. I mean, if it makes sense down the road for Star Trek, then yeah, I guess it's it might work, but I just felt like it wasn't needed.
Well, it didn't really add anything except to establish that Book and Michael live happily ever after. Really, right?
Which we already knew.
Which we already knew, right? They get together, they have a laughter, they raise a son, she becomes an admiral, like. But you're right, that was already, you already knew that from when
I'll say this much: went from prisoner to admiral.
Yep. Yep. I mean, really, the main thing that it adds is what Arc. I'm looking for Arc's Arc's comment, which I can't find right now in our chat about Zora, right? About how the final mission is to take Discovery and leave it out in like the very edge of the galaxy or whatever they're taking it, and they're going to leave Discovery sitting there. Its final mission is to sit there empty and see if anybody comes along, and Zora will. It's basically like a glorified probe, kind of, right? Like they're leaving it there at the end of the edge of the Federation space, I think is what happened, right? And Zora's going to wait there and see if anybody like comes along. And be the first person that they meet, which I get.
Interesting first contact,
right? Like basically, right? Like you're flying along, and this is your first contact with the, I guess, right? That's what that was. I mean, I was glad they brought Zora back. They kind of made when the computer becomes Zora in season 2 or 3. And Zora actually is declared like a new species. Zora is not, they're not just leaving like a computer out there. Zora is a species. Zora is sentient, right?
Yes.
It's actually, maybe it's kind of mean to leave Zora out there.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Like, yeah, Zora's like I don't know. So, I mean, it was kind of nice to have that, but I think you're right. That last like 10 minutes was all about good feelings and saying goodbye. And that's great. And I bet that worked for a lot of viewers, but we didn't all need that. It didn't. I did like in this episode where Tilly says, I've been doing a lot of thinking and I know what's missing at Starfleet. We need a mentorship program. And I'm going to start one. And I thought, that's great. That is an opportunity for anybody to be a guest star at any time. Yep. Like anybody could be the mentor of the week, dropping by to talk to the Starfleet kids. And it was a nice little setup there, I think. I mean, could I be reading too much into it? Maybe, but I caught that and thought, oh.
No, that's exactly what that was.
Yeah.
That was their little open door for that.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we covered pretty much all of it, huh?
Yeah.
All right. That takes us to the end of our show this week.
Yes, it does.
All right. So we will be dropping this one because it's over.
And we'll have Acolyte. And there's 2 episodes of Acolyte.
And the Lazarus Project. I don't know what's coming with the Lazarus Project, but that's on Sunday. So we're going to add those 2 for next week. So anyone hasn't seen the Lazarus Project, you got a few days to watch it or to catch up on it. It's something we really enjoyed last season. I'm kind of psyched for it it just sort of popped up out of nowhere. I just saw it. I was watching something on television and there was an ad. I was like, wait, what? This show is back? So we'll have a jam-packed show next week.
It's always fun when stuff shows up and you don't realize it.
Yeah, right. It's going to be great. So, all right. Well, in that case, thanks, everybody. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, Karen.
Always a pleasure. Thanks. Thank you, everyone who's in our listening to us tonight, which Roger has a way to see everybody's names. I only can see the people who are in the chat, but you know that Roger has a way. I think if I click on this X thing, I can see who. I don't know how to do it. Roger knows how to see all of our live viewers. And you know what he does? He's watching his Twitter account on the side, probably, and that's why he calls everybody's names. I don't know anybody's names except those of you who are here with us and commenting. So thanks, Ark. Thanks, Michael was here. Michael Day, if you're still around, thank you. And we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, bye.
Good night, everybody.